there, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living and adventure. Thanks for joining me today. It's going to be a very quick cash stuff because there's not that much money. But I am also going to do a food shop as well in this video. So hang in there if you want to see what I buy for my family of 4 in Ototahi, Christchurch, New Zealand, whilst living on a very tight budget. This is the video for you. So here I just have 65 Deliros. Why is there 65 Deliros? Because I have a really tight budget. My family lives on $1,000 a week. That's everything for our family of 4. And our kids have some quite spendy hobbies. So we're spending a lot of money on kids' sports activities at the moment. And that is keeping things tight also. But this is by choice. We choose to live like this because we are choosing time over money. Time over money every day wins for us. We do still need some money though, so we do go to work. I work 3 days a week, my husband works 4 days a week, and we invest everything we make over the $1,000. So we live on the $1,000, anything over that goes straight into investments because we are hoping to retire early. Again, we want time over money. That's what we are seeking. So I've got my $65 today. I've already been and done the groceries. So what I'm going to do now, so I have got nothing in my food envelope. Let's quickly cut and have a look and see what did I get for my money. Okay, I've got toilet paper, different from my normal stuff, but cheaper and more of it. So that was $5.85. And then here I've got the first lot of buns. So all the buns I use are on sale and they are $2 each. This pasta is $1.69 and I've got a few of those. If you hang around to the end of the video though, you're going to see some frugal ways that I'm using that pasta and how I'm kind of stretching some of my ingredients further. These rice cakes are $1.55 each. The kids just like to have a couple every now and then, which just gives them a bit of a change in their lunchbox. That almond milk was on sale at $3.19. I've got some baking powder there for the pantry. That's $3.89. That's never on sale as far as I know. But on the flip side, it lasts a really long time. What else have I got in here? Oh, bread. That was on sale for 89 cents each. If I had seen that earlier, I should have got that rather than all these buns, but never mind. I saw it and I went back. I'd already paid for my groceries and then I went back. So all the buns, $2. I bought enough buns for about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. So I'm not going to have to buy buns anytime soon. And I bought a combination of sweet buns, which saved me for baking, and also really good rowing snacks. There's some chocolate hot cross buns. It's a bit early for hot cross buns, I think. We are only in February, but you know, when the bargains come up, I'm going to take advantage of them. So stack of bread rolls, and I just package them up individually. I kind of put, for the sweet buns, I put 2 into a bag and put them in the freezer, and for the other buns, depending on the size of them, I package them up into what my kids would eat for each lunch. So that could be either 3 or 4 buns in each bag. And that way there's, I think, you decrease your risk of wasting some of the buns, you know, by being either left out and not eating them and they go mouldy, or if they're in the freezer and you have them in a big bag and you take some out and leave others in, you know, there's a chance they'll get freezer burn. So those bananas were on sale. They were $2.49 each for each of those buns. And then I got this cheese. This was the budgetist cheese for $12.55. Capsicum was $1.99. No awesome bargain there. Mushrooms were on sale, and I got $2.25 worth of those button mushrooms. They're never a whole meal, but I just add them to something, you know, a little bit of extra vitamin B. Our apricot tree looked like it was going to go great guns, but then we got hardly any apricots. So I've just been buying a few apricots each week. That's just 1 each, and they were $1.92. It's almost 50 cents each an apricot. This next one, sweet corn, was a much better bargain. That's 99 cents. And I had some last night, not the sweet corn stuff I already had in the fridge, and it was so nice. It was so juicy. Loved it. The cucumber was $2.69, and that's because I've only managed to grow 1 cucumber this year. Tofu, a good cheap protein at $3.99 each. And I've got some cream cheese there that was on sale for can't read my writing, I think $2.89. This butter was a genuine deal. Well, I think it was anyway. That's one of them. The other one will come later. That was $6.99 for that butter. Pastry was $6.29, and I'm going to make a pie tonight with that. And then hopefully we will make some sausage rolls later on in the week. They're good for school lunches. Have sausage rolls one night for dinner, and then the leftovers are good for school lunches. Now, Vita Sport, these are electrolyte kind of powders, and I don't think they're great, but they really are recommended by my kids' sports coaches. They do rowing, and they're out on the water sometimes for like 5 hours. So it's hot, the sun is hot, they're working hard exercising, and they lose a lot. They sweat a lot. So we're trying those. They both like them and they both think they're good. Those are some on sale pineapple lumps, which are actually hokey pokey lumps. They're $1. The cream was $2.89 and the tomato paste $1.39. Nutrigrain, another thing they like before they go rowing, that's $5.49. Now you have to stick to the end of the video and see what I do with that Nutrigrain, because it doesn't go very far if you leave it as it is. That honey mustard sauce, I can't see on my receipt anywhere where that is. It's somewhere, but I think it was about $2.60 something. And those fruit sticks, they were $2.99 each on sale. And that's not something I put in my kids' lunch boxes all the time. But when they go away for a regatta and they have to have a packed lunch, I send them with those because they want them. Creamy rice, that was $4.69. The moros were 99 cents each. And some throaties, because one of my kids has got a sore throat. There's 3 of those and they're $1.05. And that tuna, $3.25. Cashews again, snacks for lunches. They were $3.99. And then the tin tomatoes, and next is going to come up some tin beans. They're only 89 cents each. And baked beans are actually a really good protein lunch after your kids have been doing lots of exercise. So some baked beans on toast and chuck in an egg and you're pretty much done. The chili beans, they're $2.09, and that tomato sauce is only $1.59. And then this meat I got on sale for $22 each. And I actually go through and find the one that has got the most meat on it. So I look for the most, the closest to the kilogram, for example, or, you can see one there was previously $26 and something. I will always go for that one. That's how I kind of make the most of what we have available. So this is my grocery shop, and all up I spent $198.60. So it's a pretty spendy one, but there's lots of things there for the freezer and lots of things put away for regattas and lots of things for the pantry. So next week when I do a much smaller shop, it's going to work out okay. And if you want to stick around, I will timestamp this stuff so you can cut to cash stuffing if you want. But I thought I would show you what I do with some of these cheaper ingredients because, pasta on its own, I don't know, I don't particularly love pasta myself, but it's just a really good, easy, quick, pretty cheap carbohydrate. That's $1.69 for that. So I'm going to cook it up and I'll show you what else I do. While I'm waiting for that to kind of boil away and get ready, I'm going to get ready and I'm going to look at making some snacks for the kids as well. So I bought a couple of these moros. They were only 99 cents. And I'm going to use these to make protein-packed bliss balls. Why am I adding a moro? Just to make it so my kids will eat it. Having some caramelly chocolate added to these bliss balls makes a big difference. When they were little and just did everything that I said, I would not have a moro in their bliss balls. As they get older and, want to, I guess, choose their own things more, if I make, a completely healthy bliss ball that doesn't have any, say, chocolate in it, for example, they won't eat it. They'll just sit in the fridge. So that's a waste of time, money, energy, and effort. And ultimately, it's the other things, if I have to chuck in a couple of moros to get them to eat, the other stuff, then I just feel like at this age and stage for them, that is worth the compromise. And it is a compromise for me. But that's the thing, when you are the person who does the cooking or does the baking, you can't just do it always exactly how you want, right? You have to, I guess, work with the other people. So in these bliss balls, I always put, you saw me before doing peanut butter, coconut oil, and normally I put in honey, but my daughter said the last lot were way too sweet, so I haven't put in honey, and I've got those Moro bars. So I just slowly melt those things over a pot of hot water. So like a double boiler, but I don't have a double boiler. So I boil a bigger pot of water and then I put my smaller pot in. And in the blender, I'm doing sunflower seeds, sesame seeds. You can use any kind of seeds, whatever you've got in your cupboard. These are the things that I have in my cupboard. If you haven't watched my earlier videos, I have these big giant bags because I'm part of a organic food co-op, and so we buy our food in bulk directly from the supplier. So we're kind of cutting out the supermarket. And is it cheaper? It is a wee bit cheaper, but the thing I like most about it is that we're cutting out the supermarket. Like we're kind of doing a more old-fashioned thing where we're dealing straight with the supplier. The bulk of these bliss balls are made up with oats. And so those are the things that I want the kids to eat. I want them to eat the seeds. I want them to eat the oats. Sometimes I put desiccated coconut in it, but we've changed around our kitchen and I've put the big bulk things outside in a cupboard in the garage. And I didn't want to go out there and get it, so there's no desiccated coconut. And there's my dates. Again, I buy them bulk. I can't remember how many kgs I have, but it's probably about 10 kgs worth of dates. And that will at least do us 6 months, I'd say. So that's what it looks like when it's all blended up. Yeah, there you go. I don't want to leave anything behind. So I always get the spoon and I scrape it out. Don't want to waste any food because that's kind of just like wasting money, and that's something I definitely don't like to do. And then I just want to add those melted ingredients. Hopefully I've done enough. Nothing's measured, so please don't write anything in the comments like what's the recipe. Just have a go. I'm just chucking stuff in there. If it's wet enough to make the bliss balls up, that's perfect. If not, then I will just melt, a little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of coconut oil, maybe a little bit of honey, just so that it's thick enough to stick together. There's no more moros though, so that's that as far as added, kind of not raw ingredients per se. That's what that looks like. And it's just a matter of mixing. It's a really fun job. I like making bliss balls. I feel like they are the healthiest, quickest, easiest snack you can make your kids. And they just sit in, I just sit them literally on a plate in the fridge. So there's no barrier, even though you might not think having something in a lunchbox is a barrier to getting it. In my house, honestly, if something was just sitting on the bench or just sits in the fridge, that is easier for my kids to get than if they have to get out a container. And I know that sounds terrible, but that is just the way it is. So I just, you kind of just work with what you've got, don't you? I actually hadn't cooked enough kind of liquidy stuff for these bliss balls. So I've added a little bit of honey, a little bit of coconut oil together just to make it a little bit moister, or else those balls will be too dry. I actually also didn't think it was sweet enough, so I haven't put as much honey in as I normally would. I would normally not hold back at all. This time I've been quite conscious not to make it too sweet. I've also put in cocoa powder, so that kind of makes it a little bit bitter as well. But this should be a better consistency, so I can start to roll out those balls. Not sure how many I'll get, but I guess at least 30 or 40. And this is all I do. Yep, roll up the sleeves because it's hard manual labour. Not really, but that's all I do. It's just, clean hands, roll the balls, put them down. Once I've finished the balls, then I pop them in the fridge, and then they kind of harden up a wee bit. But I definitely taste test this mixture, make sure it tastes all right. If it's not okay, then I'll think, oh, what do I need to add? Or if it's too lumpy or whatever the problem might be, I fix it, because my main aim here is to get these eaten. So if I make them in such a way that they're no good, they'll sit in the fridge and no one will eat them but me, because I don't want to waste them. Okie doke, Nutrigrain. So again, this is pretty expensive cereal. I don't feel like our budget could actually feed our kids Nutrigrain grain every single morning. It's like over $5 for that tiny bag. I personally don't like it. I would much rather have porridge oats. It tastes all right, but yeah, I don't think it's very filling. I wouldn't think many cereals are very filling. So what I'm going to do is take my muesli that I already have, and I'm going to combine the two. So inside this muesli is all sorts of different things. It's a packet of muesli that I've bought because that's what the kids requested, and I want them to have some of what they want. Not everything, they don't get everything they want, but I want them to have some of what they want. And then I do some of what I want, which is add some things to it. So I add dried fruit, I add seeds, I add nuts, I add desiccated coconut, I add some dried fruit, and now I'm adding some Nutrigrain. Oh, and I also will add in, the end bits of Weet-Bix, like when the Weet-Bix are all kind of crushed up at the bottom of the packet, those bits of Weet-Bix I will add also to the muesli. So I feel like they're getting, I don't know, a bit of a bulked up version of what they want. And then there's still a little bit left over there. I'm just going to pop that away. And then there's enough for a couple of bowls of Nutrigrain there for them if they want, just for a little, I guess not a short lunch, that's not the right word, a small breakfast before they go rowing. They have 2 breakfasts when they row. Here's some leftovers from the night before. That's my yummy sweet corn I had. And I'm going to go out and give that to the chickens. They absolutely love our leftovers. They're so happy when they have some corn to nibble on, I reckon. So we have the 5 chickens, and this also supplements our diet. But only 2 of them lay because 3 were little chicks and 2 were adults. And there's my dog thinking, crikey, why can't I have some of that corn on the cob too? So when they are all laying, it's going to be great. I cannot wait. I thought I'd just give you a little peek into their living arrangement. So we have them in a container that I guess it was for live animal export, like for a dog on a plane or something like that. And we got it for, I think it was about $40 at the dump shop. So someone's chucking it away. The dump shop see it and they think, oh, we can sell that. So it's pretty good. They all sit in there very nicely. I've rearranged this recently because it's been raining so much and I needed to keep them dry. So that's how this new kind of thing has come about. And the 5 fit in there. So I've made kind of like a shelter out of sacks. I've sewn those sacks together and then I've made a little porch with some tent pegs. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it does keep them dry. They do all fit in, so that's a bit of a win. Another thing we do to supplement our diet is garden, obviously, and I think I've talked about this in so many videos it will be no news to any of you unless this is your very first time joining me. So here is my tomato patch, and this is honestly the first year we have had good tomatoes. I have never really grown tomatoes before in any kind of number. It's literally been like, oh, I've got 4 tomatoes. This year I have enough tomatoes to regularly be giving them away, which was my aim. Like I wanted to have so many tomatoes, I didn't know what to do with them. Very soon I will start putting some away in the freezer, just about 400 grams worth. It's the same as a tin of tomatoes, and see how many I get. But you can see here from this bowl that I collected the other day that I've got plenty. I could collect a bowl like that probably every second day. There's that many tomatoes. But for today, remember I was boiling the pasta. I'm going to use these tomatoes here and a few other bits and pieces from the garden to embellish that pasta and make it into a pasta salad. That's also how I'm going to use that honey mustard sauce. So again, I just want to break down barriers to healthy eating. So I try to make it as easy as possible to make the healthy choice. And when you're older and you've kind of trained your mind to make a healthy choice, that becomes easier and easier. But I think there are some periods in your life and, different ages and stages. These are carrots from my garden, as you can see by their interesting shape. But different ages and stages, my kids just want to do what's easy. And I need to make sure that the right decision is the easiest, so they take that one. So by having just a healthy afternoon snack like this available, then that makes it the easy one. Oh, it's just sitting there, I'll just grab it out of the fridge and eat it. Great. If I wanted to make some biscuits, that means I have to bake them. Oh no, that seems too hard. Let's go with the pasta salad instead. That kind of thing. That's what I'm hoping to achieve. And yeah, I would say like 90% of the time this works. So if you do have kids and you want them to make healthier food choices, I think making the right choice, the easy choice, is probably my number one tip. And this is also an extremely frugal snack. This is just 1 pack of pasta and some honey mustard sauce. So all up, that's about $4. Everything else I've got from my garden, so it's free. But for $4, there is enough salad here for, oh, crikey, weeks of food. Nah, not quite. Days of food, though, for sure. And there's the finished product. So I put that into some containers in the fridge, and it also acts as an extra side salad if we need it for dinner. Another thing I do, which is kind of supplementing our groceries, is forage. So here's a wee video just of me going out. This isn't all in the same day. This is, different days I'm putting together. But I went out to get blackberries. On first inspection, I thought, oh, crikey, there's not that many blackberries. Someone's already been here this morning before me, so I have to, there's not a lot of low-hanging fruit. Some of them are in awkward positions, the kind of fruit that other people have left behind. So I always make sure when I go foraging that I'm wearing good clothes. But I couldn't get my gardening gloves, which is normally what I pick blackberries in. Oh, watch this. Ow. It was not a success. $800. That's pretty good. Almost a kg of blackberries. And I tell you what, so that took me about 45 minutes. I would much rather spend 45 minutes collecting blackberries, getting back my life, than spend that 45 minutes at work. And it's not really a money saver per se, because, an hour at work on a Saturday for me is probably about $75 an hour. I just don't want to do it. I would much rather go and collect like $5 worth of blackberries. It's just me. Okay, well, I could wander around with you guys all day around the garden and show you what I'm up to, but you might want to watch the rest of my cash stuffing and see where the remainder of our money goes this week. So let's get back. Okay, so that's food done, right? And I'm kind of switching this around to make the budget work. One week, so I'm getting, I take the money out weekly. 1 week I'm taking my $265 and going to the supermarket and buying my groceries and then using whatever's left over for my cash stuffing. The next week I am doing my groceries out of my online money and keeping $265 with me here to cash stuff. So 1 week I'm taking it out of cash, and 1 week I'm taking my groceries out of my online envelope money. And that's just a way to make sure no particular envelopes end up unstuffed, because when you've got $65, it's obviously not going to go that far. So every second week I kind of need $265 to make these envelopes work, so we don't kind of run out of money in the health envelope, for example, or whatever. So we need to make sure that we are continuing to put something in every envelope as much as I can, and that's the way I've figured out to do it. So 1 week from cash, groceries, the next week not from cash, from online, but still sticking to my $1,000. That's the thing that's most important for me, as long as we can stick to the 1,000. Okay, so bikes, transport, I'm not putting anything in there. Let's have a quick look. 80, 130. So there's 180, 180 in there. That's enough for now. Petrol has got nothing, and I'm also not going to put anything in there. Tickets and fun. I was planning on going to the movies this weekend with my daughter. My husband and son have the rugby, but she's sick, and she just said, I just want to stay at home and do nothing. So there's $25 in there, and I'm also not putting anything else in there. The garden's getting nothing. Oops. Oh no. Oh, don't know my own strength. Oh yeah, there we go. Phew. It's closed now. Oh no, that's just closed. I'm going to have to do that afterwards because now my envelope is closed. Oh well, anyway, garden wasn't getting anything. I was just going to have a quick look and see what I had. I think I've got $50 odd in there. And then giving. Giving's got 110, and that's going to get another 5, so that's got 115. My husband's work travel, he does need to travel. It's coming up quickly, so I'm just going to give him another 10. That makes it 150. And next week when I have more money, I can really top that up and kind of get that one crossed off. And then pocket money has got nothing in it, but it needs money. So each of my kids are having $20. So 20 and 20. This is working well. They are really enjoying allocating their money into their own budget binders, making sure they've got money for the bus, they've got money for friends, like a birthday present, and they've got some spending money for themselves. So they have an upcoming sports tournament, and they know that when they go there, if they want to buy something like a t-shirt, that they have to fund that. And so they're putting money away for it. It's working well. I'm pretty happy. And I'm not bothered by what they're putting it into. I just want to make sure that they're putting it into something like, every envelope is getting a little bit of love. Okay, I'm just going to take a break there before I do my next binder, because I made myself a little challenge. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know I did a change jar challenge. I've done one for the last couple of years, and I had been meaning to print one off the internet, and I hadn't done it, and I knew I was going to do this video today, so I just made one. It's not fancy, but it's fine. It's just a way to keep the change in the jar. If I cross it off here, I consider it done, and I will not steal from it. If I don't cross it off here and it's just in the jar, I will definitely steal from it. So I'm just going to quickly count up and see how much I have, and then cross off some of these numbers. And normally I've saved that to the end of the year and done some kind of big unstuffing. I'm not going to do that this year. I will just be getting it into my binders and chopping up some of these envelopes. I haven't done a cash stuffing video for ages, and one of the reasons is because I still have these gross envelopes that I haven't made nice. And it's getting towards the end of February and I still haven't done it. and I keep thinking every week I will do that, and I don't. So hopefully today I'm going to go out and have a little squiz through the secondhand shops, and if I can find some nice paper, I will be making these nice. Animals, there's nothing. Let me just see how much I've got, because we will be getting our dog groomed before kind of the very cold weather sets in. So 120, 40, 60, 80, 200. Okay, that's all right. I think I'll put in 5 for the dog. Well, really it's all animals, but I'm thinking of the thing that needs doing. Health, I will leave spare, and then celebrations. That's going to need a bit of an intervention. This is next time I get my bigger amount, my 265, I'm going to have to put a chunk in here, because I came up with a great birthday idea for my daughter, and I want to get cracking with it, and $55 will not be enough. So I need to get moving on that. I think I might need $200. Normally I contain the birthdays to $100, but I think the thing that I'm thinking of, I think it's going to take $200. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. And then I've got the clothes / shoes. So my son's had a new pair of running shoes already. So this next one will be, my daughter will need some, need. It's not necessarily need. She's got good sports shoes which will last her. So it's 120, no, sorry, that's not right. 50, 60, 70, $80 there. She will probably want a pair of winter boots. So that might be about 150. So I guess I'm just over halfway. Oh, the other thing I was going to start doing from this video onwards was letting you know what I've bought during the week from the money that I have in these envelopes. And in the health envelope, I bought cold and flu essential oils, just for a little diffuser we have. One of my kids has a cold, and I just put that on overnight, and it does seem to help with the coughing. So they don't really cough overnight if we have this on, but they do if we don't. So I like to use that, and that's what I spent $16.70, and that's where my 30 cents would come from in this change jar, because when I get the change I'm just putting it straight in there. So that's it, I've done that. Okay, and of course I have my emergency fund binder, which you might not recognise because it says tech, but that's not true. I did start a Ko-Fi page because I would like to upgrade my tech. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. No one's been on it, so you guys probably think it's not a good idea. But I've done it anyway, and they do say to say it in my video, so there we go, I've said it. I feel uncomfortable saying it, but I've said it anyway. So this is my emergency fund, and I've got 150, 70, 90, 200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 250, 260, 265, but I don't have anything to give it this week, so we'll just leave it at that. Next week, there's going to be a lot of pressure on that $265, isn't there? Good to know though, I have a week's worth of cash stuffing in this binder, so if for some reason there was no money, I'm sorted. I've got my, my very beginning emergency fund. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Also, let me know if you like the format of kind of jumping in and out of different things. I quite like it because it can be boring just doing the same thing over and over. And I want this to be a fun thing, not only for you, but also for me. So let me know in the comments below what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I look forward to catching up with you guys next time. Bye for now.